achieved.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to Studio Day Heifer. I'd like to apologize because I cannot now find the comment, the guy who said that I wouldn't wear a headband in today's video. I got news for you. Don't tell me I won't do something. You got the wrong guy. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Here's me in a headband. What's up? A few things to get to today, including another, I didn't look up if he was actually an All-American last year, but he should have been. Let me Google that on the fly here. Isn't this why you're here for these videos? Because I do things without fact-checking? Let me see here. Just double check. Make sure I'm not lying to you. Oh, he's named a preseason All-American, if that counts. Yeah, there you go. All-American. Yeah, anyway. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Studio Day Heifer. We're going to talk about what's going on in college football. A couple of names you're going to need to know who you aren't going to get to see play this year because they're opting out due to COVID. We got a giant Cowboys mailbag as a whole bunch of you have sent in questions, and I'm going to try to rapid fire through a ton of them today. So remember, in the comments at youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh, you can leave a comment and tell me what you want to talk about tomorrow, and I will do my very best to get to that. And shout out to everybody who answered the question on the last video about which toe you would give up. The most popular answers were if you had to give up a toe, you would give up either the middle toe or the one next to the pinky toe. See, I think I would go toe number 2 next to the big toe because look at how big, can I get it up here? Like, look how big this toe is. This toe is bringing a lot to the party. So I think if I took this one away, toe number 2, I think my balance would still be good. I didn't Google it to see which toe means the least for balance. Maybe it is the middle toe. Maybe it is the one next to the pinky toe. But you can't give up the pinky toe or the big toe. That would be insane. Anyway, before we get to all of those things, I also want to point out, it may not be popular to admit this, but I saw this picture yesterday on the tweeter. I'm at JC1053. Jason Witten looked really good in a Raiders uniform. And the Raiders uniform is super clean. It looks great. They just disrespect it with their play all the time. But that is a good-looking uniform, and Witt is looking good bald. So you can make all your jokes about 5 yards per catch or 5 yards and turn around or whatever, but this picture's from the Raiders Twitter account, by the way, in case I get in trouble for that. That is good. That's looking good. I just wanted to get that out there. That is a good-looking uniform, and Witten with his Mr. Clean head, boy, he's looking nice. He is looking nice. Okay. Now we move on. Rashad Bateman is the name of a Minnesota wide receiver. He is opting out of the college football season. He's going to get ready for the NFL draft. So he's only been there for 2 years at Minnesota. This would be his junior year. So he's eligible for the draft after this season. So he's going for it. He's going to get ready for the draft. He's not going to play around during the COVID season of 2020. And he's a badass. Last year, he had over 1,200 yards on 60 catches, and I was watching some of his tape this morning. And I'm ready to get rid of all tight ends and running backs and just draft another receiver. Just give me Rashad Bateman. He's like 6'2", very smooth route runner. Not the most explosive athlete based on his tape, but really good hands, giant catch radius, good route runner. Gimme. Please hold. Okay. That's Rashad Bateman. And I hadn't mentioned it on this channel yet, I don't believe, but also Caleb Farley, a cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech corner Caleb Farley. 4 picks, 12 passes defended last year, 6'2". He is also declaring for the NFL draft and not playing college football this year, and both of those guys are potential first-round picks. So there, now you know their names. Rashad Bateman, Caleb Farley. You ain't going to see them playing college football this year, but you will hear their names called in the top 50 of the NFL draft next year, and both names will probably end up being relevant to the Cowboys because those are a couple of positions you could probably, well, they're not going to pick a receiver. But I'm team give me all the receivers, so just let me dream, okay? Pete said, Jeff, this no hat thing's getting you a lot of comments and questions. It's crazy. I have some hairstyles you should try in a future hatless video. John Travolta in Grease, Brad Pitt in Fight Club, Jeff Bridges is the Big Lebowski, Sylvester Stallone in First Blood, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, Jim Carrey is Ace Ventura, Will Ferrell in Anchorman or Semi-Pro, Nick Cage mullet in Con Air, Keanu Reeves is John Wick, Yahoo's Serious and Young Einstein. If you had to pick any of them, which one do you think you could? I could pull off Ace Ventura. When those movies were coming out, those were my jam. I loved Jim Carrey. I tried to talk like him with all of his goofiness. I tried to be Jim Carrey. That was the prime of his life right there. It surely was. Hang in there, Jeff. Just hang in there, bro. I got my Zizal. I took it last night. Probably need to take one this morning. Let's see here. Spinova? Some of y'all got some interesting names on your things that aren't your real name, I don't think. He says, I'm in the 1840 club, 16%, and climbing club. That's right, 16% of you have the notifications turned on. Click on the little bell. Bing! Make sure you're mashing the thumbs up and leaving things in the comments as well. He says, least important toe is the fourth. Mine's been broken since I was 7. It doesn't really bend. He says, question, as far as defensive scheme goes, do you like the team's ability to cover tight ends with our linebackers or safeties? I like Trevon Diggs, have high hopes as an outside corner, but think he could line up on tight ends similar to Byron. I hated the past coaching staff's reluctance to use players interchangeably, as it seemed they stuck to sides and positions instead of matching up throughout the games. Byron would move once in a while, depending on who you were playing. Byron would occasionally go shadow a tight end or Michael Thomas or guys like that. But, yeah, they didn't move guys a whole lot, and I don't think this team has a guy in the secondary that's good enough to think that you can go shadow guys right now. You're hoping Trevon Diggs turns into that sort of guy. As far as their ability to cover tight ends, this has kind of gone under the radar because I think if you asked a Green Bay fan about clinton-dix, they'd be like, well, he makes really bad decisions, takes bad risks, takes bad angles, and, he'll get you some interceptions occasionally, and he can cover, but he'll also just do some mind-blowing things. We're like, what in the world is happening here? But he's a coverage safety more than he's a tackling safety, and so is Xavier Woods. So while I don't like the idea that the Cowboys were bad tackling last year and they brought in a guy who's not a very good tackler, I do like the idea that both of their safeties' primary strength is in coverage. So that could help them. It's always very unknown, a lot of things going into a new football season. But there is enough about this Cowboy team that I think gives you reason for optimism. And one of those things is right now they're going to be running out 2 starting safeties that neither one's really a box guy. Their primary skills involve coverage, and that can be a good thing. But somebody on this team has got to learn to play their job, play their responsibility, and tackle folks. Ideally, that would be all the other guys on the football field. Brian, hey, Jeff, 16%er. And I would lose no toes, because toes are where your balance is. I look forward to your videos every day. So there's a highlight whenever they drop on my phone. Oh, sweet. Thanks, man. Got 2 questions. Why do you think Lamar could win a Super Bowl in 3 years when he's 0-2 in the playoffs, but the Cowboys can't win in 3 years and Dak's 1-2 in the playoffs? I think the Cowboys can win a Super Bowl. I was asked, do you think they will? And it's just an odds thing. Lamar Jackson's both of their playoff sample sizes are small. Dak hadn't been bad in the playoffs. He's not the reason the Cowboys have lost games in the playoffs. They've given up 30 points every time he's played in a playoff game. Most quarterbacks have a terrible record when their team gives up 30 or more points. Dak just hasn't been an exception to the rule. But yeah, in both of his playoff losses, they've given up more than 30 points. And in Lamar's case, I think you just watch the player. That team won, dang it, I don't have it pulled up, were they 13, 14 games last year? A team like that can win the Super Bowl. That team could have beaten the Titans, and they could have won the Super Bowl last year. They just didn't. Because suddenly they got stopped on, was it 2 4th-and-1s? They had a drop that cost them their first drive. They were a victim of, you're playing one game right now. If you lose this game, you go home, and things that hadn't gone against them all year went against them, and it happens. But that team is so dynamic and so good that I think if I had to pick, hey, name the teams that are the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year, they're in the top 3 for sure, and probably the top 2. I would probably go Kansas City and Baltimore, followed by maybe New Orleans. And I'm debating if I want to throw Tampa in there as the quarterback and the conductor of the Tom Brady is washed train. I don't think I'm allowed to jump off that. I have to believe that he's still washed, so we'll see about that. He says, in number 2, did the Rangers make a mistake trading Delino to Shields for Kluber? And at this point, we should trade everyone and start over. Love you, man. Appreciate that last video on mental health. You're the best. Oh, thanks, man. No, you didn't make a mistake because Delino, I like Delino personally, but Delino's a depth outfielder for pretty much any professional baseball team. I mean, maybe it turns out the Cowboys, the Rangers could have used him now because Santana's hurt, and they wrongly assumed that Danny Santana was going to be able to carry over what he did a year ago. But guys at that age who just suddenly show up and have a good year, you should have been counting on that. But you get Nick Solak on this roster who's got to be in the lineup every day. They got to figure out where, whether it's center field or a corner outfield or second base or first base. I don't care. Just figure out a way to get him in the lineup. But not having Delino doesn't hurt you. That was worth the risk of seeing what you would get out of Corey Kluber. And the real piece you traded was Clase. But then he failed a PED test, and I believe he got hurt. So, no, you didn't hurt yourselves with that trade. You took a shot. You tried. It didn't work. Brandon, I watch all your videos to the end. Brandon Rodriguez, thanks for the mental health talk. Much appreciated. You got it. Can you talk more about how you think McCarthy and Moore will and could run this offense? I have no idea. I think that's the wild card. Anybody who says that they know exactly what's going to happen and how much of it's going to be McCarthy and how much of it's going to be Kellen Moore, they're making things up because you don't know. McCarthy, I believe, was probably advised to keep Kellen Moore by the folks at the top here with the Cowboys because they are big proponents of Kellen. And it's also possible that he wanted to and that he really liked what Kellen was doing last year. But we don't know how that's going to look. And we don't know if they struggle a little bit. Is Mike McCarthy going to go back to calling plays, something that he said he would never give up? And then he said, now Kellen's going to call the plays. So we don't know. But ideally, you will have an influence from Mike McCarthy that involves being pass-heavy. And look, even that, he was pass-heavy, but he had Aaron Rodgers. Was that why he was pass-heavy in Green Bay, or was he pass-heavy in Green Bay because he believes in being pass-heavy on early downs and throwing the ball out? I don't know. But I think you've got two smart offensive minds, and as long as they can gel together and get on the same page and make it happen, I think you are looking at one of the three best offenses in football. So that'll be good. Hector Calderon says, do you think Nick Solak should be the starting second baseman instead of Rugi? Yes. Rugi's probably better defensively, but Nick Solak's got to be in the lineup. Okay? By the way, Stars, Dallas Stars, you don't have to copy the other Dallas teams. I know the Mavs and the Rangers are loving blowing leads late. You didn't have to do that. You could have gone ahead and won. You're up 3-1 when I turned it on. I feel like I jinxed you. And I don't even believe in jinxes. Nathan Neal, he said, what up? Love the radio show and the YouTube videos. Love being a part of the new 16% club with notifications on. Do you prefer Jeff or Jeffrey? Most people call me Jeff. Amanda calls me Jeffrey. I think I've reached a point in my life where I kind of prefer Jeffrey. That's a good question. Because for the longest time, I didn't really get called either of them because I was playing football and I was JCAV back when I was cool and athletic. Ryan Dempsey says, do you have any idea what substantial offers were made for CD pick on draft day? I do not know anything specifically about that, and whatever they were, I don't care. The Cowboys should have hung up on those people. Don't call here. Daniel Winterbottom, he says, 16% or middle toe would have to be the least important because it's literally in the middle. Plus, you can't flip someone off with it. With the 49ers declining Solomon Thomas's fifth-year option, would he be a player the Cowboys could look at getting? Keep up the vids. Much love from Australia, mate. We're international. So I didn't like Solomon Thomas nearly as much as a lot of other people did in the draft process when he got picked, and I've been proven right on that. What up? When he reaches free agency, if you want to bring him in on the cheap and see what he's got, that's cool. But he was one of those guys that I would never want the Cowboys to trade for because he's making top 10 pick money, and he doesn't produce that way, so I wouldn't even be interested. Nathan also says, are you looking to do something more with your hair? Maybe a bigger flow? Are you content with how it is right now? I've reached the stage where I need another haircut, but it's COVID times, so I just kind of let it do what it do. It's weird because I have a full head of hair, but I also wear a hat all the time to cover up my full head of hair. Because if you wanted to do your hair, that takes work and know-how, and I don't have the know-how or the work ethic. David Johnson, Jeff, you're not fooling anyone. We know damn well it's because you aren't wearing pants. That's why you don't do standing up videos. Subscriber, turned on all notifications to your channel. What up? I don't wear pants. Sometimes I wear shorts. Yesterday I was wearing tights because I was about to do my yoga, but it's none of your business what's on my lower half. Thank you very much. Eric Pacina. Hey, Jeff, does the brand Cowboys not allow a proper rebuild? Just a curiosity. I totally believe that. Not that they need to. The Cowboys don't need to rebuild. I think they just nailed a draft. Just keep nailing drafts. In the NFL, if you have a good quarterback and you can draft well, and you don't have to pick high to draft well, you can keep a window open. It's not super common. You know, the 49ers are a great example of a team that's going, wee, and that works. And yes, Jerry wants to avoid that, for sure. Jerry didn't go 5-11 3 years in a row on purpose. He is not trying to lose. He's trying to stay relevant every season for as many weeks as possible. Whelmed, long-time 15%er, 16 now, 16%. I just want to let you know that you do so much more than talk sports. Oh, thank you. You help people and lead them to better and inspire mental healthiness. What's the circumstance Dak would have to have in order for them to completely move on from him next year? Are we talking like high INT and turnovers, lack of wins? Interested in hearing your opinions. I love Dak. I hope he has an MVP caliber year, but if the opposite happens, what's the gamble at that point? If Dak has a bad year, I think they would move on from him or try to tag and trade him some way. But I don't think that's realistic. What does a bad year for Dak look like? He's never had one. Now, 2017 and 2018 weren't as good as 2019 and 2016, but he's never had a season where you'd point at it and be like, man, the Cowboys have a bad quarterback. He's going to win this bet. It's just a matter of how it plays out. Do the Cowboys meet him and Todd France's demands? Do they back down a little bit and accept what the Cowboys are willing to offer? Or does he keep trying to maximize his money and make his way towards unrestricted free agency where he breaks the bank? That's the only questions, and we'll see. Rowan Donahue. Actually, we did your question on air the other day, so make sure you're listening to G-Bag Nation every day. Ted Prickett. Love your content so much. I was a part of the 13. Try to play with you in Warzone. You're always in a dang party, and I can't join you, or you don't join me. Well, just keep trying. Just keep trying to join up on me. I'll never be offended if somebody just pops in the room and is like, hey, Jeff, you're on my friends list, so I just joined up. Come on with it. What's your favorite place to land in Warzone? Quarry. Northeast corner of the map. Like to go Quarry there. Also like the hangars at Airport, the houses outside of Boneyard. And I'm starting to kind of like Lumber. If there's a scavenger over there, I am the scav god. Twitch.tv/timeforjeffrey. Subscribe. And can you explain what makes Gallup so good on the deep routes? Despite his 4.5 speed, he's always seemed like he runs faster. And who's your favorite Cowboy of all time? And since you've been covering the Cowboys, who's been your favorite to cover? Dez was my favorite to cover because I think he was one of one. He was so unique, and the way he played wide receiver was so unique, and he was badass. And I think that he wanted, in his heart of hearts, to be the best teammate in the world. So I really enjoyed covering Dez, and I still do. I enjoy covering and watching his growth and his journey, and I'm a Dez Bryant fan. Gallup's good on deep routes because Gallup is strong. I think, like, he's not a burner. He's not the most explosive route runner, although he's a good route runner. He understands the nuance of the position, and he can win when the ball is in the air because of that nuance and because of the physical strength, where he'll give you a little nudge, he'll do what he's got to do to make it to where he's the one who's going to get to the football. He's just a good wide receiver. He does not have all the physical gifts that you would dream of, but a lot of the great receivers don't, and Michael Gallup was one of those. David Rico, hey Jeff, love the content, heard you on the radio first, and now I watch all your videos. I like D-Law and think he's good, but I'm curious, if you could keep Robert Quinn with D-Law's contract and release D-Law, would you? Hell no. Robert Quinn was a good pass rusher for this team last year. Tank Lawrence is a dominant defensive player. Tank Lawrence brings more to your team than Robert Quinn, and I like Robert Quinn. Haley 94 Ware subscribed and all on notifications because you're damn good at what you do. Thanks, man. Try to catch all you guys on 105.3 The Fan when I can. I saw the first player team meeting with Coach McCarthy. It was short and sweet, but enough to get the juices stirred for the upcoming season. My gut is saying that Big Mike's ahead of the curve on preparing his team as well as can be expected. What's your gut saying? Note, definitely chili on the dog, and hope the chicken made it. Oh, yeah, the chicken that I had on the egg, yeah, it made it. It was delicious. Still got a bunch of it to eat. That's the beauty of smoking a bunch of meats, is you have food for a week or multiple weeks. Oh, man. Oh, I'm going to the next one. What was he saying? Yeah, I think McCarthy is ready. I think he had enough time to put his staff in place and his plans in place and have an understanding of how this offseason is going to be different and what they're going to do. I don't think he's unique in that regard, like he's way ahead of the world, but I think, yeah, he'll have this team ready. Robert Norvell, 16%er, ketchup on a hot dog, and your mom is an angel come to earth. That's all the requirements to get read, right? Yes, suck up. It works out well. With the cap decreasing this season, I think it's an even greater necessity that the front office cut Crawford. Hey, hold on now. He's a depth player making $8 million, and we have a stack of guys to get snaps. Cut him. Money goes back in the cap this year. You can roll it over to next year to put us under the reduced cap without any contract adjustments minus Dak. Chris Jones need to be cut for the same reason. Thoughts? I wouldn't mind if they checked in with Tyrone to see if he was willing to take less this year so you had more to carry over into next year's potentially down salary cap. I wouldn't mind that, but don't cut Tyrone Crawford. You don't want to bank on somebody who hadn't played in the NFL in forever in Aldon Smith. Like he's just going to show up and play 60 to 80% of the snaps. To me, that's too big a risk. Tyrone Crawford is a guy that if he's healthy, you can trust, can play multiple positions, and is a good player. So, no, I am not down with cutting the Tyrone Crawford. All right, I need to come up with what you guys to talk about tomorrow. Oh, no, not that. You guys leave what you want to talk about tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. And I got to come up with my random question of the day in the comments. Also, how far are we here? 21-29. You still here? Let me know in the comments. What is your favorite beverage? Because mine would be my Spark, but sometimes it's Dr. Pepper, sometimes it's beer, sometimes it's liquor, sometimes it's water. What's your favorite video game of all time? Even if you're somebody who doesn't play them. You probably played Mario Kart back in the day, huh? Joust. You played something. What's your favorite video game of all time? And I will catch you guys on the radio a little bit later today, and I'll see you tomorrow on the video. Leave what you want to talk about. I love you. What do I say? Love you, bye. Love you, mean it. Bye. I love you. Bye.